Welcome to the English Podcast, your go to for improving your English skills. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Max. Today, we're embarking on an exciting journey to talk about something we both love: travel adventures and tips. Sophie, where was your last amazing trip?
Oh, Max, my last trip was to Kyoto, Japan. It was absolutely breathtaking. The ancient temples, the serene gardens, and the vibrant culture. I was completely captivated. I spent hours exploring the Arashiyama bamboo grove and even tried a traditional tea ceremony.
Kyoto sounds incredible. I've always wanted to visit Japan. What was your favorite part about the food there?
The food was a highlight for sure. I loved the ramen and the sushi, of course, but I also discovered okonomiyaki, a savory pancake. It was delicious. And the street food in Nishiki Market was an adventure in itself. Speaking of adventures, what's a travel experience that really stands out for you?
For me, it has to be my backpacking trip through Southeast Asia. I started in Thailand, went through Laos, Cambodia, and ended up in Vietnam. It was a whirlwind of new sights, sounds, and tastes. I remember getting lost in the bustling markets of Bangkok and finding hidden temples in the jungles of Laos. It taught me so much about resilience and adapting to new situations.
That sounds like a truly immersive experience. I admire your courage to backpack. I'm more of a planner myself. Which brings us to our first tip: planning versus spontaneity. Do you think it's better to plan every detail or just go with the flow?
That's a great question, Sophie. I think it's a balance. For essentials like flights and accommodation, especially during peak season, planning ahead is crucial. But I also believe in leaving some room for spontaneity. Some of the best experiences happen when you stumble upon them unexpectedly. What's your take?
I agree. A good balance is key. My tip would be to research local customs and phrases before you go. Knowing a few basic phrases like hello, thank you, and excuse me in the local language can go a long way. It shows respect and can open doors to more authentic interactions.
Absolutely. And on that note, my next tip is about packing light. It's a game changer. The less you carry, the more freedom you have. I always try to stick to a carry-on if possible. It saves time at the airport and makes getting around so much easier.
Packing light is definitely a skill I'm still mastering. My suitcase always seems to grow. Another important tip, especially for international travel, is to get travel insurance. You never know what might happen, and it's always better to be safe than sorry. It covers everything from lost luggage to medical emergencies.
That's a very practical tip, Sophie. And speaking of safety, always keep copies of your important documents: passport, visa, tickets, both physical and digital. Store them separately from the originals. It's a lifesaver if anything gets lost or stolen.
Excellent advice, Max. And for those looking to save money, consider traveling during the off-season. You'll find fewer crowds and often much cheaper flights and hotels. Plus, you get to experience the destination in a different light.
That's a smart way to travel. My final tip would be to embrace the local cuisine. Don't be afraid to try new foods, even if they look a little unusual. It's a huge part of the cultural experience. Some of my most memorable meals were from small, local eateries.
I couldn't agree more. Trying new foods is one of the best parts of traveling. So, whether you're a meticulous planner or a spontaneous adventurer, we hope these tips help you on your next journey. We'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for joining us on this travel adventure. Until next time, keep exploring and keep learning English.
And remember, every trip is an opportunity to learn, grow, and create unforgettable memories. What are your favorite travel tips, listeners? Share them with us using #EnglishlyPodcast. Safe travels, everyone. Bye.
Welcome back to our bonus segment. Max, you mentioned getting lost in Bangkok. Can you tell us a bit more about that experience and what you learned?
Oh, absolutely, Sophie. It was quite an adventure. I was trying to find a specific temple, and my phone battery died. I ended up wandering through a maze of alleyways, completely disoriented. But then, I saw a small food stall with the most incredible aroma. I decided to try some pad cew, a delicious stir-fried noodle dish. The vendor, a kind old woman, noticed I was lost and, despite the language barrier, she helped me find my way back to the main road using hand gestures and a lot of smiles. It taught me that even when things go wrong, there's always an opportunity for a unique experience and human connection. It also reinforced the importance of carrying a power bank for my phone.
That's a fantastic story, Max. It really highlights the unexpected joys of travel. And speaking of language barriers, let's talk about some useful vocabulary for our listeners. When you're at the airport, you might hear terms like boarding pass, customs, baggage claim, and layover. It's good to familiarize yourself with these.
Excellent point, Sophie. And when you're checking into a hotel, you'll often hear reception desk, check-in/checkout time, room service, and concierge. Knowing these can make your stay much smoother. What about phrases for asking for directions?
Great question. Simple phrases like, excuse me, where is, or how do I get to, are incredibly useful. And don't forget, can you show me on the map if you have one? It's all about being polite and clear. Max, have you ever had a funny or challenging experience with a language barrier?
Oh, many times. I remember in Vietnam, I tried to order a specific type of coffee, but I kept mispronouncing it. The barista and I had a good laugh, and eventually, through a lot of pointing and gesturing, I got my delicious Vietnamese iced coffee. It just goes to show that a little humor and patience go a long way when you're traveling.
That's so true. It's all part of the adventure. Now, let's address a common question we get from our listeners. What's the best way to save money while traveling? Max, any quick tips?
Absolutely. Beyond traveling during the off-season, I'd say cooking some of your own meals if you have access to a kitchen, using public transportation instead of taxis, and looking for free walking tours in cities. Also, consider hostels or guest houses if you're on a budget. They're great for meeting other travelers too.
Those are excellent suggestions. And I'd add booking flights and accommodation in advance to get better deals, and always compare prices on different websites. Also, look for student discounts if you're eligible, or travel passes if you plan to visit many attractions.
Fantastic tips. Sophie, it seems like we could talk about travel all day. But for now, we hope our listeners feel more confident and excited about their next travel adventure.
Definitely. Remember, every journey is a chance to practice your English and experience the world. Thank you for tuning in to the English Leap podcast. Keep exploring, keep learning, and safe travels.
Bye, everyone.
Welcome back to our bonus segment. Max, we've talked a lot about our own experiences, but let's dive into some specific advice for our listeners who might be planning their very first international trip. What's the first thing they should consider?
That's a great starting point. Sophie, for a first-timer, I'd say choosing the right destination is key. Don't feel like you have to go somewhere incredibly far or culturally different right away. Maybe start with a country that's relatively easy to navigate and has a good tourism infrastructure. It helps build confidence.
I completely agree. And once you've picked a place, budgeting is the next big step. It's not just about the flights and hotels. You need to account for daily expenses like food, local transport, entrance fees for attractions, and of course, a little extra for unexpected costs or souvenirs.
Budgeting is so important. I always recommend using a travel budget app to keep track of your spending in real time. It's easy to lose track when you're having fun. Another thing to consider is how you'll handle money. Should you carry cash, use a credit card, or a travel money card?
That's a common concern. I usually suggest a mix. Carry a small amount of local currency for places that don't take cards, but rely on a travel-friendly credit card for larger purchases. Just make sure to check for any foreign transaction fees beforehand, and always inform your bank that you'll be traveling.
Great advice. Now, let's talk about staying connected. In this digital age, having internet access is almost essential for maps, translation, and staying in touch. Do you usually get a local SIM card or use an international roaming plan?
I almost always go for a local SIM card or an eSIM. It's usually much cheaper than roaming. Most airports have kiosks where you can easily pick one up. It's a lifesaver for navigating unfamiliar streets. Max, what about health and safety? Any tips for staying well on the road?
Health is wealth, especially when you're traveling. My top tip is to stay hydrated and be mindful of what you eat and drink, especially in areas where tap water might not be safe. Also, pack a basic first aid kit with essentials like pain relievers, bandages, and any personal medications. And as we mentioned before, travel insurance is a must.
Absolutely. And for safety, it's all about being aware of your surroundings. Don't flash expensive jewelry or large amounts of cash. Research common scams in the area you're visiting so you can avoid them. Trust your instincts. If a situation feels off, it probably is.
Well said, Sophie. Now let's shift gears a bit. Travel isn't just about the logistics, it's about the connections we make. How do you suggest our listeners interact with locals in a meaningful way?
That's my favorite part of travel. I think it starts with being open and curious. Smile, be polite, and try to learn a few more phrases beyond just hello. Ask locals for their recommendations. Where's their favorite place to eat? Or what's a hidden gem in their city? Most people are happy to share their culture with someone who shows genuine interest.
I love that. And don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. Maybe try a local cooking class, attend a traditional festival, or even just strike up a conversation with someone at a cafe. These are the experiences that truly enrich your journey and stay with you long after you've returned home.
Exactly. Travel is a powerful tool for broadening our horizons and fostering understanding between different cultures. It's about seeing the world through a different lens.
It really is. And for our English learners, travel is the ultimate immersion experience. You're forced to use the language in real-life situations, which is the best way to improve. Don't worry about making mistakes. Most people will appreciate your effort to communicate.
That's such an important reminder, Max. Every interaction is a learning opportunity. So, to wrap up this segment, what's one final piece of advice you'd give to someone about to head off on their first big adventure?
I'd say, embrace the journey, both the highs and the lows. Not everything will go according to plan, and that's okay. Those unexpected moments often become the best stories. Just stay positive, stay curious, and enjoy every moment.
Beautifully put, Max. And my final advice would be take lots of photos, but don't forget to put the camera down and just be present. Soak in the sights, the sounds, and the smells. Create memories that will last a lifetime.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's episode of the English Leap podcast. We hope you've enjoyed our travel adventures and tips.
Thank you so much for listening. We'd love to hear about your travel plans or any tips you have. Connect with us on social media. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and safe travels.
Bye, everyone. Bye.